What if I told you that the majority of chicken you eat, whether it's a schnitty, nugget, wing, or wrap, is controlled by two companies you've probably never thought about? It's not Coles, it's not Woolies, and no, it's not your friendly local farmer from the countryside. Behind nearly every chicken in the fridge aisle sits a duopoly so powerful, they've turned Australia's most popular protein into their own private empire. Meet Ingham's and Baiada, the corporate giants behind Steggles, Lilydale, and most of the chickens stocked in Australian supermarkets. These two companies quietly control over 70% of the country's chicken market, and most people don't even realize it. You walk into the store thinking you're making a choice. Chicken breast or thigh, crumbed or plain, this brand or that brand. But under the packaging, it's almost always one of two companies. So really, you're choosing between option A and option A again. That's a major issue, because when two corporations dominate an entire food group, especially one as essential as chicken, it becomes a power issue. One that touches everything from your grocery bill to the contracts farmers sign to the national food system's ability to survive a crisis. This is how the chicken you eat got caught in a corporate chokehold and why it should matter to you. Australians love chicken. I don't need to convince you of that. On average, we chow down on around 45 kilos of chicken per person per year. And nearly all of that comes from the same two companies. Even if you've never heard of Baiada, you've probably eaten their chicken. They're the ones behind Steggles and Lilydale, and their products are everywhere. Ingham's are the same deal. You've seen them in the frozen aisle, deli section, even hiding behind grocery store branded packaging like fresh chicken or oven-ready cuts. They're vertically integrated machines, which means they control the entire supply chain, from breeding stock and hatcheries to feed mills, transport, slaughterhouses, and marketing. They own the chicks, the feed, the processing plants, the trucks, and the logos. Now you might be thinking, okay, two big companies, what's the big deal? Well, when just two players control the entire poultry pipeline, you feel the effects everywhere, especially at the checkout. In a healthy market, competition keeps prices in check. If one company charges too much, another swoops in to undercut them. But there's no swooping here. There's no undercutting, because both players know they've already won. With over 70% market share between them, they can raise prices quietly and in sync without sparking a price war. If transport costs rise, if grain becomes more expensive, if fuel prices spike, you'll see it reflected in the chicken section. But if those same costs drop, well, don't expect your Sunday roast to get cheaper. There's no pressure to pass savings down the line. Then there's the illusion of choice. Walk into a supermarket and see the trays lined up. Fresh chicken breast, thigh fillets, marinated wings, crumbed tenders. Some labeled Steggles, some Lilydale, some with the Woolies or Coles store brand. But spin those trays around and check the processor code. Chances are they come from the same set of factories. This is a choice theater. It looks like variety, but it's really just the same product in different costumes. And this setup doesn't reward innovation or ethics. It rewards scale, sameness, and speed. The people feeling this control the most are the farmers. You'd think Australia's chicken farmers are running thriving businesses. After all, we eat millions of chickens a week. But here's the truth, most of them don't own their business. Their business owns them. Ingham's and Baiada don't raise all their chickens directly. Instead, they outsource the physical farming to contracted growers. Independent farmers who raise the birds on their own land in sheds they've built with loans using equipment they maintain. But the moment they sign that contract, their independence vanishes. The company controls everything. The type of chicks delivered, the feed formula, the lighting and temperature schedules, the medications used, the dates of pickup. It's a script, and the farmer's job is to follow it. Their income is based on how well the chickens perform, how much weight they gain, how efficiently they convert feed. But those outcomes can be influenced by things completely out of the farmer's control. Genetics, batch quality, weather, even slight changes in feed formulation. If you have a bad run, too bad. Payments drop, and you can't just switch companies because there are only two. If Baiada drops your contract, your sheds sit empty. But you've still got the mortgage, still got the maintenance bills. You take the risk, they take the control. So, if this system is so locked up, why don't the supermarkets step in? They're powerful. Coles and Woolies control over 65% of grocery sales in Australia. Can't they bring in smaller producers, shake things up, give consumers real choice? Well, no, because supermarkets benefit from the duopoly too. Chicken is a top seller, a high volume, dependable, and essential item where steady supply is everything. When you're dealing with perishable products at national scale, you want two things: consistency and predictability. Guess who offers both? So instead of nurturing smaller local suppliers, Coles and Woolies rely heavily on Inghams and Baiada, and the deal works both ways. Shelf space in supermarkets is a high-stakes negotiation locked up in supply contracts, margin targets, and delivery guarantees. If you're not a big player, good luck getting a foothold. Even the store-brand chicken you see, like Coles-branded thigh fillets, often comes from Baiada. Supermarkets outsource their own private labels to the same giants they pretend to compete against. Smaller, ethical, or regionally based chicken producers can't keep up. They can't match volume, price, or distribution scale. So even if they do raise chickens sustainably, they're pushed out of the main game. And most shoppers have no idea. They think they're choosing between brands, when really, they're choosing between two supply chains dressed up to look like 10. It's a closed loop, and we're all stuck inside it. Here's a surprising twist though. Australia barely exports chicken. We're one of the biggest poultry producers in the region, yet we keep nearly all of it at home. Why? Because costs are high, regulations are complex, but more importantly, the duopoly doesn't need exports. They've already got a captive market here. Australians are the primary consumers, and we're the main profit source. So there's no urgency to expand abroad. That means all that corporate power, all that production scale is laser focused on you. You're the customer, you're the cash cow. And when things go wrong, economically or otherwise, you're the one holding the bag. Part of the problem is that this duopoly operates legally. There's no outright collusion. The contracts are binding. The market dominance is technically earned. So there's no smoking gun, just a slow erosion of competition hidden behind contracts and supply deals. Even the National Farmers Federation has raised concerns about the imbalance between growers and processors. But unless there's real political pressure, nothing changes. These companies know the system too well, and they're playing it exactly as designed. Now look, no one's saying you need to swear off chicken or live on lentils forever, but we are saying be aware. Because when two companies control what you eat, how much you pay, and what your local farmer earns, that's not just about food anymore. That's about power. Corporate power quietly baked into your weekly grocery run. So next time you're picking up a tray of chicken, take a second to notice the label. It's not about overthinking your dinner, it's just about being aware of who's involved and how the industry's set up. But what do you think? Is this just the cost of convenience in a modern economy, or is it a sign that real choice in our food system is becoming harder to find? Have you ever stopped to wonder where your chicken actually comes from, or who's profiting when you grab a tray off the shelf? And maybe the bigger question is, how many other products in your shopping trolley are controlled the exact same way? If this video gave you something to think about, tell us what's on your mind in the comments. Are you surprised by how deep this duopoly runs? Do you think change is possible, or has the system gone too far? Hit that like and subscribe button if you learned something new today, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.